So many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up? Oh, he's right there.
In our industry, who pays you is who tells you what narrative you're allowed to use. And I'm not paid, so I own my narrative. That is what makes my opinion valuable at all.
It started with one quiet moment, a crowded room full of Hollywood's most powerful names, and one man's refusal to play along. When Katt Williams said, "Who pays you is who tells you what narrative you're allowed to use," it wasn't just another joke, it was a warning. He was talking about control, about how every word, every story, every laugh you see on screen comes with a price tag. And when he said, "I'm not paid, I own my narrative," that was the moment everything shifted. Because in a business where silence is currency, Katt made it clear he couldn't be bought. And that kind of independence, that scares people, especially in an industry built on obedience. See, most entertainers learn early that stepping out of line comes with consequences, fewer calls, canceled deals, or quiet blacklists that nobody talks about publicly. But Katt, he leaned straight into it. He wanted to own his story, even if it meant standing alone. Dave Chappelle once said that Hollywood doesn't fear the funny ones, it fears the free ones. And tonight, we're going to find out why. Because behind every joke, every punchline, and every headline about Katt Williams, there's a truth Hollywood doesn't want you to hear.
I don't just tell black secrets, I tell white secrets too, because we all family. They don't lie to some of us, they lie to...
When Dave Chappelle calls someone the most feared comedian in Hollywood, that's not just a compliment. That's a coded message to the entire industry. Chappelle doesn't hand out respect lightly. For him to call Katt feared means there's something deeper happening, a clash between truth and the system that profits from hiding it. Hollywood doesn't fear jokes, it fears exposure. It fears when someone steps on stage and starts talking about things that executives whisper about behind closed doors. And Katt's been doing that for years, with no safety net, no backing, no corporate leash. Every punchline from him carries that sting, that sense that there's more truth in his laughter than in any headline you'll ever read. And that's the kind of power that makes people in high places nervous. Chappelle saw it. He recognized that same resistance he once had to show when he walked away from $50 million. Not because he didn't want success, but because he refused to let success rewrite who he was. So when he calls Katt Williams feared, it's not about physical power. It's about moral power, the kind that makes you untouchable, even when the whole system wants to silence you. And maybe that's the real question. In a world built on image, what happens when one man decides to live in truth instead?
Big deviance is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies.
To have a conversation that's not being had. And I'm really sorry that these conversations are being had by a comedian. I wish too that it was a religious leader of some kind having this conversation, or somebody's politician talking about this.
Every industry has its rebels, but very few survive long enough to make the system nervous. When Katt Williams walks into a room, people don't just laugh, they hold their breath, because they never know if the next thing out of his mouth will challenge a narrative someone's paid millions to protect. He doesn't need a script. He doesn't ask for permission. And that, in a place like Hollywood, is the most dangerous weapon you can carry. See, the entertainment world runs on balance, talent on one side, obedience on the other. But Katt tipped that scale completely. He turned stand-up into a battlefield, where truth became the punchline and honesty became rebellion. And that's what Chappelle meant when he said Katt's name shakes rooms. It's not fear of what he'll do, it's fear of what he'll say. Because one sharp line from him can undo months of polished PR and perfectly managed images. His presence reminds them that not everyone in the game is playing by their rules, that some people would rather burn bridges than build fake ones. And every time he steps on that mic, you can feel it, that quiet tension between the system and the man it can't control. Because when Katt Williams speaks, people don't just listen for jokes, they listen for the truth hiding underneath them.
He said, I'm not doing this. You are not going to get a black man, a real black man, to agree to do this to another black man.
Chappelle's words carry weight because he's lived the same battlefield. He's seen the machine from the inside, the contracts, the labels, the subtle control tactics that box in even the brightest stars. When he talks about Katt Williams, it's not fan talk. It's acknowledgement from someone who knows how the system punishes honesty. And he respects Katt for surviving it while staying unbought and unfiltered. They don't lie to some of us, they lie to all of us, Chappelle says. That line is more than observation. It's a warning. It's a recognition that Hollywood doesn't just bend individuals. It tries to shape entire narratives, entire generations of performers. Katt doesn't just reveal what the audience wants to hear. He reveals what executives and insiders hope stays hidden. That's why respect from someone like Chappelle isn't casual. It's a nod to courage in a world that thrives on compliance. And the deeper truth here is chilling. Hollywood rewards those who follow the script and quietly sidelines those who don't. Katt refuses to be quiet. He refuses the script. And that's why even in laughter there's tension. The respect Chappelle shows isn't just admiration. It's recognition that Katt holds a mirror to the system. And that mirror reflects more than anyone wants to see.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House too. I almost died. All I did was say, I want to punch it up so it's not offensive to real.
Are you not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people.
What do you mean again? Like, no, not they offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down 50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that
Fearless, unpredictable, too real. These aren't just adjectives. They're warnings in disguise. Hollywood doesn't fear chaos, it fears influence. And influence grows when someone refuses to follow the rules. Katt Williams wields truth like a weapon. He doesn't measure his words to fit an agenda. He doesn't pause for approval. And that refusal to be tamed, that's real power. Most actors and comedians in the system learn early that fame comes with invisible chains. You smile, you nod, you stay quiet, and the machine rewards you. But Katt chose freedom over comfort, honesty over appeasement. Every joke he tells, every story he shares, reminds everyone watching that he answers to no one but himself. That's why Chappelle called him feared. It's not about physical intimidation, it's about disruption, the kind that rattles executives, agents, and peers alike. When someone can speak their truth without compromise, it challenges the status quo. It reminds the powerful that control isn't guaranteed. Katt Williams stands alone in a world that expects compliance, and that's exactly what makes him untouchable. Because in Hollywood, independence isn't just rare, it's a threat. And Katt has spent decades proving that living untethered is not just possible, it's unstoppable.
Oprah coming next. Once I establish this as a place of truth, oh yeah.
Katt Williams doesn't perform for applause, he performs for truth. Every time he steps on a mic, he holds up a mirror to hypocrisy. He doesn't sugarcoat, he doesn't tiptoe. He calls out what everyone else skirts around, and somehow, he makes it funny. That combination of humor and unflinching honesty is rare, and it's what makes him legendary. In 2024, discussions about power, influence, and accountability are everywhere. Yet Katt is one of the few voices willing to say what many only whisper. It doesn't matter who the players are, moguls, artists, or executives. He challenges the narrative that protects them. He's not just highlighting lies, he's forcing conversations that would otherwise remain hidden. And that's dangerous in a business built on compliance and carefully curated images. Chappelle sees it clearly. He knows the system, he's survived it, and he recognizes in Katt a rare ally, someone unafraid to expose the cracks while keeping the audience laughing. It's that fearless transparency that keeps Katt Williams at the top of the industry's most unpredictable list, and why Hollywood both fears and respects him.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got raped in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay.
Imagine a room where rules govern not just behavior, but words themselves, where every joke, every gesture is measured against an invisible line set by executives. That's Hollywood. And yet, here comes Katt Williams, a comedian, yes, but more importantly, a truth teller who refuses to be scripted. Chappelle even admits it. He wishes someone in power, a politician or a religious leader, would openly tackle these issues. But the conversations remain for now in the hands of performers like Katt. And that's part of why he's so feared. Every studio meeting becomes a test when he walks in. He doesn't ask for approval. He doesn't check a box. His energy says plainly, "You can't control me and I won't be silenced." In an industry obsessed with image, Katt is a wild card, unpredictable, unfiltered, and unwilling to compromise. That unpredictability is more than just entertainment. It's disruption. It's a reminder that the system cannot control everyone, and that even the loudest voices in Hollywood might one day be challenged by someone who refuses to play along. The power he wields isn't in a punchline, a laugh, or a headline. It's in the autonomy to speak and act freely, regardless of consequences. And that autonomy? That's exactly what makes him untouchable, even in a business designed to shape and contain him.
Nobody knows why liars lie. And that's why I had to come on the program. Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said, it don't lie.
Truth has a way of making people uncomfortable. And in Hollywood, it can be downright terrifying. Katt Williams speaks openly about the parts of fame no one wants to acknowledge. The corruption behind glossy headlines, the fake friendships that crumble under pressure, the deals that are made in smoke-filled rooms. He exposes the machinery that chews up those who think they can outsmart it. Chappelle recognizes that courage. He knows that in a world built on contracts, loyalty clauses, and carefully curated appearances, refusing to bend is radical. And when someone like Katt can't be bought, can't be silenced, it changes the entire dynamic. People don't just worry about what he says, they worry about what he might reveal next. It's not about aggression or spectacle. It's about unpredictability. In an industry where the outcome is often calculated, Katt's spontaneity, his refusal to conform, creates a ripple of tension. And that tension? It's the kind that turns respect into fear, admiration into unease. It's why Hollywood doesn't just notice Katt Williams. It watches him, measures him, and quietly hopes he doesn't speak too loudly. Because every word he utters carries weight beyond the stage. Every line is a test of how much truth the industry is willing to tolerate before it starts to panic.
Halloween was a trip. Halloween, we couldn't afford no Halloween costumes. Hey kids, please. Mama sent us down to the liquor store, put boxes on us.
Every Halloween, I had the same outfit on. Every year. I just had a brown box.
Imagine an industry that thrives on silence, where loyalty contracts are sacred, and even the smallest misstep can cost you a career. That's Hollywood. And then imagine someone like Katt Williams stepping into that world, laughing in its face, and refusing to play by its rules. Since the early 2000s, Katt has been unafraid to highlight the parts of the industry everyone else tiptoes around. Secret deals, backroom politics, and the kinds of shady rituals most won't even mention publicly. He's not seeking sponsorships. He's not chasing endorsements. He's after something far scarier for the establishment: truth. He once said, "I'm not part of the system. I'm part of the resistance." And that's exactly what he's done. Every joke, every show, every interview is a challenge to the status quo, a reminder that some voices can't be bought, silenced, or controlled. That fearless approach is what makes him dangerous to a system built on predictability. Hollywood can handle talent, Hollywood can handle charisma, but it cannot handle someone who refuses to be confined, someone who uses humor to expose the hidden truths the industry would rather keep in the shadows. Katt Williams didn't stumble into fear, he earned it. And as Chappelle clearly recognized, that fear is a reflection of power, the power to speak, to reveal, and to remain untouchable in a world designed to suppress. Katt Williams' influence isn't measured in awards or glossy magazine covers. It's measured in the tension that fills a room the moment his name is mentioned, in the uneasy shuffling of executives who know he doesn't play by the rules, and in the quiet acknowledgement that no amount of contracts or sponsorships can dictate his story. From the early stages of his career, he recognized that comedy was more than laughter. It was leverage, a way to expose truths that others were too scared to touch. Every performance became a calculated risk, a blend of humor and revelation, where the punchlines were shields and the observations were weapons. He carved out a lane where honesty, audacity, and independence intersected, and in doing so, he made Hollywood take notice, not for admiration, but for caution. Audiences respond to Katt differently than they respond to other comedians. They feel the sincerity, the refusal to compromise, the raw energy that comes from someone who understands both the streets and the system. He doesn't just perform, he challenges. He holds up a mirror, and the reflection isn't flattering for those hiding behind power, money, or influence. When he jokes about secret deals or hypocrisy, it's more than entertainment. It's a subtle but pointed critique, a reminder that not everyone in the limelight is free, and some are trapped by invisible rules that dictate behavior and silence dissent. That's why his comedy has always carried an undercurrent of unease, why executives and insiders feel that mix of fear and admiration simultaneously. What makes Katt particularly formidable is his consistency. He hasn't needed Hollywood to validate him. He doesn't depend on curated images or managed PR campaigns. He survives and thrives by being himself in a world where being yourself often comes at a price. Fans see it, they recognize authenticity, and they respond to it with loyalty that can't be bought. That devotion has shielded him from some of the industry's harshest attempts to control him, from subtle blacklisting to media framing that tries to rewrite narratives for convenience. Every comeback, every sold-out show, every viral clip reinforces a single truth. The industry fears the man not because of what he does, but because of what he represents. Chappelle's acknowledgement of Katt's fearless nature isn't just praise, it's validation from someone who's walked similar paths. Chappelle knows the cost of independence, the way contracts and fame try to shape individuals into predictable products. Katt, in parallel, has always refused to be manufactured. He turns experiences, both personal and systemic, into performances that entertain but also educate. It's a rare alchemy in Hollywood, where so much is polished to perfection, sanitized to protect reputations, and sanitized to maximize profits. Katt's stage isn't sanitized, it's a battlefield of ideas, observations, and truths wrapped in laughter. The cultural fallout of that fear is multi-layered. For one, it elevates Katt beyond mere comedian status. He becomes a symbol of resistance, an example that not all influence is purchasable, not all careers are controllable, and not all power structures are infallible. People begin to talk about him differently, fans, media, and insiders alike, because his actions force recognition that honesty can coexist with success. At the same time, the industry works to contain him, to understand him, and sometimes to sideline him, revealing a tension that underscores Hollywood's reliance on predictability. Irony runs deep in Katt's narrative. Hollywood fears someone whose influence stems from rejecting the very mechanisms they depend on to shape stars. Every step he takes outside the safe zone amplifies his power, precisely because he refuses to conform. While other celebrities cultivate images, attend events for optics, and strategically manage perception, Katt operates on a principle far more dangerous for those in power. He operates on truth. The consequences are clear. Executives become cautious, peers measure every word, and the media alternates between fascination and wariness. His existence alone disrupts the narrative control Hollywood works tirelessly to maintain. Online reactions and cultural commentary amplify this effect. Fans speculate on what he might reveal next. Comment sections explode with recognition, debate, and admiration. Social media becomes a barometer of influence, showing that while Hollywood can attempt to manipulate image and message, the public recognizes authenticity and rewards it. The ripple effect reaches beyond entertainment. It becomes a subtle cultural reckoning, prompting conversations about freedom, autonomy, and the cost of speaking truth in controlled spaces. Yet Katt's legacy isn't just in disruption, it's in the subtle teaching embedded in his performances. Every time he addresses fame, corruption, or hypocrisy, he invites the audience to question, to reflect on the invisible systems that govern not just Hollywood, but power in general. His comedy becomes a lens for understanding systemic influence, a reminder that control is only effective when people comply, and that resistance, expressed intelligently and boldly, can redefine norms. Chappelle's insight underscores this dynamic. By highlighting Katt's fearlessness, he isn't merely commenting on personality, he's recognizing a philosophy of independence that few dare to embrace. Both comedians demonstrate that refusal to be corralled by expectation is not recklessness, it is power. And in a business structured to commoditize individuals, that power is extraordinary. It commands attention, forces reflection, and above all, reshapes perception. Even the challenges Katt has faced, from industry pushback to media scrutiny, reinforce his significance. Each controversy, each headline, each attempt to sideline him ultimately solidifies his reputation as someone unbreakable. Where others might have folded, adapted, or apologized to maintain favor, Katt persisted, transforming obstacles into platforms for truth-telling. That persistence sends a clear message. Fearlessness is not simply about courage, it's about survival, strategy, and the unwavering commitment to authenticity. At the heart of this story is a profound tension between autonomy and expectation. Hollywood builds systems designed to predict, manage, and influence behavior. Katt Williams operates outside those systems. His power is invisible, yet undeniable. It's the power to challenge without threat, to provoke reflection without violence, and to command attention without concession. That's why his presence is both celebrated and feared, because he represents the unpredictable potential of someone who refuses to be tamed. And in a broader cultural sense, Katt's journey illustrates a timeless principle. Influence and respect are earned through integrity, not compliance. The industry's attempts to control, sideline, or critique him only highlight the very truths he exposes. The fear that surrounds him is a mirror of the power he wields, the power to unsettle, illuminate, and inspire simultaneously. His comedy becomes a cultural touchstone, a method for revealing truths too inconvenient for polished narratives, and a reminder that some voices cannot be contained. In conclusion, Katt Williams embodies a rare intersection of humor, courage, and independence. He has proven that the most dangerous thing in Hollywood isn't confrontation, scandal, or spectacle. It's unfiltered truth, delivered with confidence and clarity. He's a man who navigates fame without surrendering autonomy, who entertains while educating, and who commands respect because he cannot be bought or silenced. That combination makes him not just a comedian, but a symbol, a representation of what it means to remain free in a world structured to impose conformity. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.